very beautiful, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that fun-filled, glorious part of your day where you explore human consciousness from the inside out. I am so excited about today's topic. Today's topic is something that I had no idea about a few years ago, and now it's such a comprehensive piece of my knowledge that it's something that I meditate on every day, and it's just so powerful. Okay, you guys ready for this? It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited. Okay, so today I'd like to talk about, drum roll please, the difference between consciousness and neurobiology. This is a game changer. Any kind of healing journey through life can radically transform with this knowledge and insight, okay? Are you guys ready? We're gonna deep dive into this. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so when we move through life, there's all these experiential sensations, you know, there's temperature, it's hot, it's cold, there's sensations, I'm hungry, I'm full, there's desires, there's, you know, I'm bored, I'm entertained. There's all of this contrast and all of these conclusions about life that are kind of going through us. And it's really easy to associate ourselves with those things and feelings because we're the ones going through them. But the truth is, ooh, it's so exciting. The truth is that your self-essence, your consciousness, your identity, worth, and potential are completely separate, completely different, entirely distinct from your neurobiology that processes and undergoes and stores life experience. And I recently found out that this is scientifically backed, which is awesome. But I personally discovered this through my case study last year. I was doing all of these deep self-hypnotic techniques, and I got to this space really deep in my consciousness where I actually first-handedly witnessed the energetic distinction between my neurobiology and my consciousness. I have a video and podcast episode about that if you want to check that out. It's so, oh my goodness. So consciousness and neurobiology are two different things. They're not the same things. They symbiotically interact with one another, but they're not the same things. This is so exciting because it means that yourself is never defined by your experience. It means that who you are is never limited or reduced by the neurobiology through which you are experiencing life. So if you experience anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, literally anything, that means that all of those experiential sensations, all of the neurobiological components that are creating those sensations, all of the experiential data that's contributing to those feelings, sensations, experiences, and battles is completely separate, completely different, entirely distinguished from your consciousness, who is your true self. And that means that once you start to liberate your consciousness, your neurobiology can heal. As long as your consciousness believes that it is the same thing as the neurobiology, then healing is very limited. There's a very small space where healing is possible. But once consciousness and self-essence and who I am is clearly clarified, distinctively distinguished from neurobiology, then consciousness can be liberated and neurobiology can heal. Okay, so we'll explore this in a few different angles, okay, because this is a really exciting topic. Okay, so let's start with the basics, just moving through everyday life experience. Okay, let's start small and work our way up to how we can conquer through the impossible of health battles. Okay, so let's just start small. In everyday experience, start to notice your consciousness being distinct from your neurobiology, okay? So that means when you're walking, taking a step, you can consciously notice that your consciousness is your self-essence who is having personal life experience through the neurobiology of your brain and body. I am not walking. I am experiencing, or I am sensing my consciousness experiencing walking through my body. And kind of play with these types of observations, okay? When you eat, this is another fun one. So when you eat, you look at your food, And you can make it a meditative exercise. I talked about that yesterday, if you want to check out that video. So you look at your food, make it just kind of a ritual of practicing presence with your miraculous consciousness, because you deserve to experience your own miraculous presence. Look at your food and notice the self-essence who is personally perceiving is your consciousness, but the way that you are perceiving through your eyes is through your neurobiology. It's fun. It's really fun. The distinction is like really subtle at first, like it's really hard to see it, but then once you practice it, you're like, whoa, I am distinct from my neurobiology. This is so liberating. This is so cool. This is so exciting. This is so miraculous and mysterious and phantasmalistic. I want to explore it more. It's so cool. It's so fun to notice this. And so just play with it in your everyday life and start to notice it. Consciousness is your self-essence. So when you are perceiving, when you are responding, when you are experiencing or expressing, the energy of yourself, the non-physical energy of yourself, the energy that can be seen through your eyes and felt through your body, but not necessarily seen through your body except through your eyes, that is your consciousness. That is your true self. And there's infinite potential there. Your identity and your worth and your potential are infinite. They're limitless. They're not defined by experience. They're not defined by your brain and your body. It's a completely separate energetic essence. And this is really liberating. At least it can be when it's embraced. So consciousness is separate. What is neurobiology then? Neurobiology is all of the brain and body systems that create modalities for consciousness to experience life through. Okay, so I'm able to talk right now and have a brain that can articulate thoughts and have a voice that can speak and hands that can gesture and a body to, have me upright in a posture in the atmosphere and the ground, and that's all through my neurobiology. The neurobiology are tools. They're tools to use. Being able to use my hands, being able to speak, being able to have a face and all of that, those are tools. Neurobiology is the tools of life. And neurobiology is what moves through life and stores all the data. So in here are a whole bunch of cells. A whole bunch of cells. I got brain cells. I got all kinds of different cells. I got, ganglia out here. I got all kinds of different cells going on in my body. And those cells store information from experience. So right now, for example, my brain and my body are gathering new information from the experience of creating this video. And the information is being subjectively processed through my neurobiology and stored in the data of my brain and my body system. And my experience here of recording this video will affect me for the rest of my life in ways that I will not directly perceive. So experience holds a lot of power, but not as much power as consciousness. And that's the really exciting part. That's the really exciting part. Consciousness holds so much more power than neurobiology. Consciousness holds so much more power than experience. So your neurobiology is your brain and your body system that provide modalities for your consciousness to experience life through. So it stores all the data from experience to help with optimal survival. Like memories, for example, have nothing to do with storing past information. Memories could not care less about what's happened. Isn't that funny? Isn't that so funny? Neuroscientifically backed by many, many sources. Memories don't give, they don't care about the past. Memories don't care about what's happened. Memories are all about projecting potential experiences and present interpretations. And so what's happened yesterday and last year and 10 years ago and that one time when I was 2 days old and I was like, all of those experiences are here, stored in the cells of my brain and my body to project information to help me interpret present experiences and navigate through potential experiences. Memories have nothing to do with the past. They have to do with interpreting the present and projecting the future. And so the cells in my brain and my body, they provide information to try and help me optimally survive. Okay, so that's neurobiology. But consciousness is the self-essence experiencing life through the neurobiology. They are not the same thing. Who you are is not the data in your body. Who you are is not the experiences you've gone through. Who you are, what you're worth, and what you're capable of have absolutely nothing to do with the way that you're automatically experiencing life. Your automated thoughts are from your neurobiology, not your consciousness. Your consciousness never, ever generates automated thoughts. I'm gonna repeat this. This is a big one. Who you are. This was such an earth-shattering discovery for me a few months ago. Who you are. Oh, it's too good. Who you are is consciousness, and consciousness never, ever, ever generates automated thoughts. 100% of the automated thoughts you're experiencing, 100% of the automated feelings, emotions, images, and sensations you're experiencing. I'm talking when they're automated, when they just come up unconsciously. Those are from your neurobiology. They actually have nothing to do with your self-essence. Okay? This is really powerful, guys. This is really powerful stuff, because that means that if you're there and you're having racing thoughts and you're having intrusive thoughts and you're experiencing dysregulation and you feel worthless and you're afraid about what's going to happen and you're worrying, 100% of that experience is not you. It's not the real you. It's not who you are. It's data from your neurobiology based on past experiences trying to protect you from a survival, fear-based standpoint. But your self-essence, your consciousness, who is personally encountering life experience, is a completely separate energetic component. Okay? Completely separate. That's the other important thing. Neurobiology does not personally experience life. Only your consciousness does. And so your consciousness without a body wouldn't have the chance to have a human experience. But your neurobiology without consciousness would have no personal self to personally experience life. And so they have this symbiotic interaction, but they are different. They are completely separate, entirely distinct energetic components. They are not synonymous. They are not equivalent. They are not identical. They are not the same thing. 100% of automated thoughts and feelings come from neurobiology. They have nothing to do with who you truly are. 0%. Your worth, your identity, and your potential have nothing to do with your past experiences, your present experiences, the way your brain and body automatically function, the way your nervous system regulates, the way your brainwaves regulate, the way you automatically experience thoughts, the way you automatically experience feelings, the way you automatically experience perceptions about yourself and the world. All of that is data inside of your neurobiology based on subjective past experiences interpreted through a survival-based fear standpoint. Who you are is consciousness, not neurobiology. And so here's the really cool part. Personal power is the ability to manually influence neurobiological wiring by directing the internal energies of consciousness. So once you create space between these two things, you can harness this power to transform this. And so if you wake up and you experience chronic panic attacks, I'm talking panic attacks where you can't breathe for 5 hours. I'm talking panic attacks where you think your heart is going to burst from your chest and you're going to drop dead any second. I'm talking the most severe panic attacks you could ever possibly imagine. Even with something like that, you have the power to distinguish consciousness from neurobiology, root yourself in your consciousness, and 100% transform the wiring of your neurobiology so that you cure, heal, transform, and liberate yourself from all panic attacks for the rest of your life. That's the power of consciousness. This is so exciting. All mental health battles can be healed. every brain and body can be restored to a glory greater than it has ever before experienced. I'm not, hey Duke, I'm not talking about going backwards. I'm not talking about reaching remission. I'm talking of recovery that has never been conceivable before. I'm talking that is possible through consciousness and power. Right here, right now, nothing's stopping you anymore. So exciting, so freeing. It's possible. Unconditional hope. Ugh. Liberation into infinite potentials that have never before been conceived or imagined. So even if you are experiencing such horrendous, traumatic flashbacks that you literally cannot experience new moments. I'm talking not a single moment of life is new because you're constantly living in sensations from past experiences. You're constantly in a state of horrific survival mode. Even in that experience, you have the power to distinguish consciousness from neurobiology. Ground yourself in the consciousness you truly are and gradually transform gradually transform your neurobiology. I know it because I did it. I know it because I've been there. I know it because I've experienced exactly what I'm describing, and I came out the other side through the power of my consciousness. No therapy, no psych meds, no outside guidance. I know this is possible because I've been there, okay? This is the truth. This is what is possible. No matter what you're experiencing, your consciousness has more authority than your neurobiology. But you will not be able to harness that power as long as your consciousness is blending with your neurobiology. By blending, I mean over-identifying with. And so if you, for example, experience hunger and you say, I am hungry, there is no distinguishment between your self-essence and your neurobiology, because the sensations of your neurobiology are equivalent with your self-essence in that scenario. And so you can start really small. Start by just reframing everyday moments, like hunger. Hunger is a really great place to start. It's a sensation that can be strong, but it's not going to be too crippling or overwhelming. You know, if you try to start with the big stuff, like really severe panic attacks or something, it's going to be really hard and it's just going to get discouraging. So start small. Start really, really, really small, just to practice this ability of creating space. Once you create space, then you can explore deeper realms of healing. But start really, really, really small, because you're learning a new skill. It's literally the process of learning a new language. And Janina Fisher talks about this a bit in her own technique for unblending as well. It's literally the process of learning a new language. You're literally learning a brand new way of being. You're reprogramming your brain just by creating space. So before healing is dived into really deep, just start by creating space from a space of observation. Once you learn to ground in the place of the observer, then you can explore other stuff. But none of that other stuff can happen until there's grounded presence where your sense of self has power in the place of the observer. You got to be grounded in your observational self before you can do anything else for yourself. So just practice that for starters, and you can make it a game. You can make it fun. It might not feel super like magical or whatever, but maybe you can get there. Maybe you can get there. Maybe you can play with the perspective of the way you approach your healing and allow for it to kind of expand and have moments of love and moments of compassion and moments of celebration, because healing should feel good. The stuff that might be, you know, trying to transform along the healing, that stuff's not going to feel good. I get that. I super get that. It's super not fun to feel like you're dying because you can't breathe, because your body's panicking because of something that happened 10 years ago. Like, that's super not fun. Like, greatest understatement of the century. That's not a fun place to be. But healing can feel good. Loving yourself can feel good. Rewiring your brain can feel good. Giving yourself hope can feel good. Loving yourself through the process can feel good. Being gentle and compassionate with yourself can feel good. Having moments of playful lightheartedness can feel good. Okay? So I get that what is being transformed won't feel good, but the healing journey itself is allowed to feel good. It's allowed to at least be moments of feeling good. Okay? And that could look like being playful and lighthearted, or just having gentle presence or loving compassion. It can look like a lot of different things. Relentless tenderness or tender courage, some of my favorite implicit energies. So start small. Start by practicing with everyday sensations that are not a big deal, that are not overwhelming. Like walk on grass and be like, I'm noticing that my consciousness is experiencing a sensation of standing on grass. I'm noticing my consciousness experience the feeling of moving through time and space as I walk. And play with it. Make it a game. See how much space you can effectively create. Do you see how much difference that is between I am walking and I am observing my consciousness experience a sensation of moving through time and space while my body walks? It is so fun. It is so fun. Make it a game and creatively challenge yourself to playfully create as much space as possible. And maybe that looks like elongating sentences by just adding space between your observing self and the aspects of experience. The best way I found is to observe your consciousness with an experience through your neurobiology. So then there's like this 4-space gap between the you that I am and the experience of what you're going through. Okay? So your observing self observes and notices and witnesses your consciousness having experience through your neurobiology. And then your brain and your body are so much further away from your observational self, and that gives your observational self more power and energetic influence over your neurobiological wiring. In every moment of every day, your brain and body are being rewired. That's already happening. That's already happening. Personal power is just the ability to harness your own internal energetic direction so that you can choose how it becomes rewired. Because you do have that power. That's already a fact. That's already the truth of the situation. It's just a matter of harnessing the power that already lies within you. Okay? So start by practicing creating space with very small things in life that are not big deals. They're very simple. They're not riddled with sensations. They're just everyday occurrences, like walking and eating. I am observing my consciousness, having an experience of walking through my brain and my body. I am witnessing my consciousness taste my breakfast while I eat through my neurobiology. I am the observing self, witnessing my consciousness have experience through my brain and my body. You start small, you rewire your brain. Then your brain is more wired to support your consciousness to transform the rest of your neurobiology. Once you have that ability, then you can rewire the harder stuff like panic attacks and traumatic stress. Because I guarantee you, all of that can be rewired and transformed. You are not required to be a victim of circumstance for the rest of your life. It is a very, very courageous, noble, bold, brave, beautiful thing to rise up into power and transform the unfolding narrative of your life. And I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that this is a simple, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like casually rewire my brain and it's gonna be like a total picnic and it's just gonna kind of naturally happen for me. I get that it can be work, but isn't that work worth it? Isn't that work worth it? To be liberated from these automated sensations, to have power and authority over who you are, what you're worth, and what you're capable of? Isn't it worth the work to liberate yourself from experiences that are done, gone, in the past, and never ever defined who you are? Never truly defined who you are? Isn't it worth it to liberate who you are so that you have power and authority over the experience of yourself and your life for the infinite potentials of tomorrows to come? Isn't that worth a little effort? I sure think so. I sure as heck think so. I sure as heck think so. Consciousness, your self-essence, is a completely separate energetic component from your neurobiology. Your neurobiology is what provides modalities to experience life through, and it stores the data from all of life's moments within cells. And that's done to provide information to fuel optimal survival. But neurobiology does not instinctively understand that we're here to thrive. We're not just here to survive. A few hundred years ago, a few thousand years ago, we needed those survival instincts. But we're evolving beyond that, and we don't need to be afraid about running from a lion or a tiger. We don't need to be afraid about those kinds of things anymore. And so we're at this evolutionary stage as a human species of stepping beyond those barriers of being in survival mode, of being in states of high stress and being in states of storing trauma in our body. We are gradually evolving beyond that and liberating generations of energies where our ancestors were stuck with that traumatic stress without any hope. They didn't know that they had power. They didn't know that their brains could be rewired. They didn't know that very scary moments of life affected the way their brain and their body were wired. And they didn't know that they had power to change that. They didn't know that their consciousness was a completely separate energetic component from neurobiology backed in scientific data. They did not have access to that information. But we do now. We do. We have this radically miraculous opportunity to do something that our great-great-great-great-grandparents never could have done. We have this really profound chance to participate in the evolution of our miraculous species by rewiring our neurobiology. And then that sends ripples effect. It sends ripple effects through all of our interactions. What do I mean by that? I'll just give a brief example. So if there's two people interacting and they both experience states of high stress where they have trauma in their body and they chronically go into a state of survival mode, that relationship is going to have all kinds of negative energies or low vibrational energies. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that there's potential for healthier experiences, happier experiences, peace and prosperity. Prosperity? Being able to prosper and have peace. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but I'm giving an example. And so when someone experiences chronic dysregulation, that energy is brought into all interactions. And they don't have power over the immediate way that their brain and their body are wired. But when they liberate themselves from that, they bring an energy of regulation to all interactions for the rest of their life. They bring this hope, this gentleness, this presence. And when one person is regulated, it helps other people naturally regulate. When one person is dysregulated, it can actually help other people become dysregulated. It's because of our mirror neurons. We're wired for we. Peter Levine talks a lot about this. We're wired for we, and so we have an impact on the people we're around. And please note, I am not saying at all that you are responsible for other people's regulation. I want to make that super clear. You are not in any capacity responsible for other people's regulation or responses. That is not your job. But what I'm saying is your healing benefits the whole world. Your world deserves to benefit. But I'm saying it's even bigger than that, which gives you more fuel for the journey. You should always be the reason that you heal. I'm just giving you an extra little, ooh, there's an even bigger reason for my own healing. It just kind of helps. It just kind of helps fuel the journey. If it doesn't help you, then let it go. If it doesn't help you, then let it go. But when we heal ourselves, we heal the world. World healing starts from in here. When we heal our world, the world changes because we do affect one another. And again, I'm not saying you're responsible for other people, you're responsible for you. But when you take responsibility for your own health and well-being, the world benefits. So on behalf of the world, thank you so much for being brave enough to harness your power and transform your storybook of life. On behalf of the world, thank you for refusing to stay stuck where you are. On behalf of the world, thank you so much for loving yourself enough to transform anything that's keeping you stuck. Thank you so much for being brave enough to rise up into your power. Thank you for being brave enough to liberate your consciousness and rewire your neurobiology so that all of life experience can transform from the inside out. Thank you for your courage. Thank you, 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 thank you. Consciousness and neurobiology are completely separate energetic components. When you create space to be in your consciousness with your neurobiology as a tool that has nothing to do with your identity, worth, and potential, your consciousness experiences a greater freedom than has ever been known before. And from that space of your grounded self, you can literally rewire any aspect of your neurobiology. It doesn't matter how long your neurobiology has been wired. It doesn't matter how severe the battles are. It might take a little extra time and effort. That's okay. You're worth it. I cannot emphasize this enough. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of liberation. You are worthy of restoration. You are worthy of transformation. You are already worthy. You are not defined by your experiences, past or present. You are not defined by what your brain and your body have gone through. You are not defined. You are not defined by the neurobiological wiring that's creating your styles of personal experience right now. That is not who you are, what you're worth, or what you are capable of. Okay? From the bottom of my heart, I see you as pure consciousness. I see you as the self-essence you truly are. I see you as the infinite potentiality you truly are. I see you, and I believe in you. Your consciousness and your neurobiology are not the same. When you can create space to distinguish them, you have infinite power in how your unfolding storybook of life continues moving forward. Let today be a fresh start. And if today sucks, let tomorrow be a fresh start. Let it be the first day of the rest of your life. Let go of everything that's ever happened before so that you can know who you truly are. Because you are consciousness, and consciousness is not bound by the limitations of brain and body wiring. And when you can begin to plant energetic seeds towards this knowing, you rewire your brain so that you have more ability to ground in your consciousness and transform your own neurobiology. It takes practice. You gotta do it every day. You gotta show up and you gotta play with these exercises. But when you do, I promise, from the bottom of my heart, I promise life gets so much better. And you, my soul friend, my soul friends, you are worthy of fighting for the rainbow that you are already worthy of. You are worthy of experiencing infinite moments of happily ever after. How you experience life 1 year from now is allowed to be completely, radically, profoundly, deeply, dynamically, transcendently different from the way you are automatically experiencing life today. And if you're ever looking for healing journey guidance, I would be honored to offer my services. I have my Consciousness Consultancy, a business where I share healing journey services as a consciousness consultant, and I also have self-guided healing journey programs if you're looking for a resource to use on your own time. I would be so honored to connect with you. If you'd like to explore more information, you can check out my website below. If you have any questions or would like to schedule a call, you can email me anytime at artistryofexistence@gmail.com. I also offer a few other opportunities, such as monthly membership for Patreon and even fun merchandise on Teespring if you just want something simple like a t-shirt or a mug to support your healing journey. A little less intense than diving deep, you know, just something to casually support your healing. Casual healing support. So I got lots of magics. Please feel free to check out my links below. And if you found this video interesting or fascinating, or if you gained something from it, or if you enjoyed hanging out at all, please do hit the like button and the subscribe button so then you can stay up to date on all the magics that I share. I really appreciate your support on my channel as I share everything I've been learning the past few years through my own healing journey. Thank you so much for being here, soul friends. And above all, thank you for being you. You're already perfect exactly as you are. And I am so grateful that you exist here on this planet. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I will see you next time, soul friends. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Namaste. The love and light in me see and honor the love and light in you. Take care, soul friends.